Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Joining us today is Lobo Tiggre, CEO of independentspeculator.com. Lobo, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me back on the show.
Yeah, it's a huge pleasure. I wanted to get you on to talk about, all the incredible excitement that's happening in the gold and silver markets right now, especially with gold hitting new all-time highs. I wanted to speak to you about that first. What do you think is happening right now with gold hitting new all-time highs? Is it tariffs? Is it the gold not being in Fort Knox? What is it?
So, what can I tell you that 100 other guests haven't already told you?
Right.
All of the above. I do think it's important to remember that the central bank buying has really put a floor under there, and it continues. It's at a substantial level. It continues at an elevated level that we've seen since the quote unquote weaponization of the dollar. And I think that's important, not just because it's there and it's a big mover, but it's because it's the kind of thing that doesn't go away, right? Even if Trump and Xi make a deal and they announce it tomorrow, China's not going to go back to thinking, oh, it's fine to have our financial life's blood regulated through New York and Washington, and certainly not the Russians, right? And the global South, so-called. So I think that I'm calling it a paradigm shift. It's a one-way door. I'm not saying that central bank buying will forever be elevated, but it is a force that's not going away. And it's really significant that you see times where there's things that would have in the past or recent past been headwinds for gold, the strong dollar, you can see dollar and gold going up at the same time. Or ironically, inflation going up. It's ironic because gold is an inflation hedge if you pull back and look at the big picture.
Right.
But short term, it doesn't correlate with inflation. So you see inflation going up and gold going up like an inflation hedge should. What's wrong with that? Well, it's because those old drivers are not the only player in the market anymore. And I just think that's really, really important. So on top of anything else we might say about how great gold is, right? Remember that there's this, let's maybe not call it bedrock, but there's this really solid new buyer in the marketplace that's not going to go away for a long time. And that matters because of what I'm about to say is, you're asking me, here we are near nominal all-time highs, well over 3,000, even on the spot, not just the futures.
Right.
It's hard to just stand on an all-time high and say, hey, it's going straight to the moon. I don't have a big red buy button that some other commentators might like to mash on TV.
Right. No.
But what I'm saying though is that I think it's a mistake to say, oh, 3,000, that's it. It's got to go down. Honestly, I think it's a coin toss. That level that we're at now has already met many people's targets. And I could see that triggering profit taking stops. And I can see that being the very thing that brings on the correction. A technical analyst would probably argue that. On the other paw, even a technical analyst would say that when you break through an all-time high, there is no ceiling.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
There's nothing there, right? So how high are you going to go? Who knows? And, the horse has the bit, in its teeth and it's running. And, if 3,000 was going to be the thing that knocked it back, it's significant that, here we are at 3,050 plus or minus, and it's still looking very strong. So I'm not saying it can only go up from here. I'm saying there's a risk of both. It feels to me, though, that the risk is the higher probability is to the upside now. And if there was a resistance out there, you could say a real all-time high using the CPI would be just over 3,500. It's not a price target. It's not a promise.
Right.
That's
it. Lobo's calling it 3,500, everyone.
If it wants to run, I could easily see it running to that level.
There's about $15 trillion worth of physical gold in the world sitting there costing money rather than being used. Is just absolutely insane. Monetary Metals is bringing gold back into the financial world, putting gold to productive use right now. The problem with gold, of course, in physical form is that it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's not particularly easy to ship, and it costs money to store in a protected manner. This platform Monetary Metals created is a proven concept and allows gold to be put to productive use. So instead of sitting there costing you money, it's actually in use earning you money.
Learn how you can earn 2 to 5% in our leasing program and how accredited investors can earn up to 12% on silver paid in silver. This advertisement is not investment or financial advice. Minimum investment applies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, a lot of people are online have been talking about, like there's so much concern right now with either tariffs or do you think it's a good idea, a bad idea? How is it affecting, the global markets? What is your take on it, Lobo? Do you think, do you think the tariffs are
Well,
good,
yeah, yeah.
bad?
Well, let's separate. As a human being, of course, I care. As a person in the marketplace, I care. It's hard to sell widgets if people are broke, and so all of that matters. But in the context of a metals speculator, as a gold bug, I see a lot of this as really noise. Sure, tariff scare, geopolitical scare, any scare is good for a safe haven asset. But these kinds of tailwinds, and they are tailwinds, I'm saying that's real. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm saying it's real.
Yeah.
But they tend to be temporary. I'm not going to use that other T word that Powell just used. Um, but these kinds of tailwinds, that's not the fundamental, defining the marketplace and where we're going. I think the more important thing is to realize that the agenda in the United States, excuse me,
It's okay,
unless it
bless.
pulls $1 trillion rabbit out of its hat in year one, unless that happens, which is a big ask, the agenda is inflationary, and the agenda globally is inflationary. European rearmament is inflationary. The tariffs, people like to say, "Oh, it's transitory, right? It's a one-off thing." It's the rate of increase is one-off, assuming there's no more tit for tat. But that doesn't mean prices go down. It means that increase, that rate of increase, the tariff goes away, but the prices don't go down. So
Right.
you're still looking at a more expensive world. So all of these things are real. All of them are material. But what really counts to me is this new long-term buyer that we talked about, a highly inflationary outlook all around the world, and that's good for both monetary metals. You slipped the S word in there earlier. Yes, I do still see silver as a monetary metal, even though my friends call me Darth Silver. Um, yeah, I'm bullish on copper as well as gold this year, and it's impossible to be, in my mind, bullish on safe haven monetary metal gold and prime industrial metal copper and not be bullish on silver, which sits quite and moves in the market squarely in between.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What's your biggest concern, Lobo, in the markets right now, other than silver? We've talked about silver and gold. We've talked about the tariffs. What is it like? Is it bonds? Is it the tech stocks? What's your biggest concern in the markets right now?
No, my biggest concern is actually, well, it's a concern and a hope at the same time as a contrarian. My biggest concern is I think the evidence is mounting that the Trump team is planning to front load the pain here and create a recession, or do all the harm they're going to do as much as they can, pack it in up front. So by the time the elections come around, then that pain will be receding in the rearview mirror, and maybe some of the good things that come from it. If deregulation and tax cuts and all these things are eventually good and they create growth, that takes time, but the immediate adjustment can be very difficult. The impact of the Doge firings, I think that's really just getting going. I think it will be substantial.
Oh yeah.
And deregulation, it's great. I'm all for it, but the immediate impact is chaos. Who's signing my permit? I don't know. He's out to no, he's not out to lunch. He got fired last week. Nobody even knows. Right?
He's gone.
Right. So there are real risks in the near term of and let me be careful here, because I'm really not criticizing the reduction of government in the U.S. I've as a libertarian, as an anarchist libertarian, I've been wanting this for years.
Right.
I never imagined that somebody would go in with a sledgehammer, the way Elon or Milei's chainsaw, rather than the scalpel that you would think. So I understand why, and honestly, I think the scalpel approach probably wouldn't work if they were being super careful and making sure nothing went wrong. I think they'd still be picking the color of the curtains in the Doge office. Nothing was done yet. It was
Right.
sledgehammer or nothing. So I get it. I'm just saying there's a price to be paid for this. And if that's a hard landing or hard recession, this year in the months ahead, the odds of a major market, if not crash, at least reversal, are serious in that environment. Industrial commodities, they're even Dr. Copper, are likely to go into reverse. And even though uranium is already down already, it's an energy mineral. I think it could go lower just on a knee-jerk basis, even though it shouldn't. I could see that happening.
Right.
And even gold and silver, monetary metals. If there's a major liquidity event, people will sell their gold, not because they want to, but because they have to. The margin clerk's on the phone. You've got cover, right? And they'll sell what they can get a bid on. And so we've seen that before. And that's why I say hope. If that happens, I am accumulating cash now, and I expect to be buying with both fists or paws, as the case may be.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, I wanted to really talk about what do you do at independentspeculator.com? What is the website? What type of benefit like, for all of our new guests that we have on on the channel? There's so many new ones. Tell them a little bit about what you do, Lobo, and what Independent Speculator
I
offers.
feel like Elon and Ron Paul have just come into my office and said, can you tell us exactly what it is you do here?
That's exactly what it is.
You know the meme I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so actually, usually people stop listening when they say, "Oh, what's your website?" But let me tell you something quick, dear audience that's still listening. Yes, I have a newsletter. Yes, it has my portfolio, Brent Cook style. It's what I'm putting my own money into. That's the Independent Speculator. But I have another service called My Take, which you've probably never seen anything like it. I'm unaware of anything else like it. The closest thing to it is Rick Rule's rating service, where you
All
can send
right.
a portfolio and he'll give you his ratings. But this is a database that you can access with almost 1,000 resource companies and growing. We take requests and we evaluate them, we update them. I have a whole team. Obviously, even I can't keep up with many companies on a frequent basis. But the takes, the essential thumbs up or thumbs down on these things, those are my judgment. So you are getting my take on all these companies. So I have a team that helps me with that. And why does this matter? Why are you going on about this level? Because, okay, there's no portfolio. There's no recommendations. What the hell use is that? Well, it's a database and you can sort it. Like, let's say you want, gold, major producers only. And by the way, I want to know if they're exposed to Mexico or Panama or something
Oh,
else.
that's actually really nice.
You can,
That's
you can get
beneficial.
that list, right? Or if you want, silver explorers only, I want, turbocharge my upside, right? You can get that list. And then you'll have a clear thumbs up or down on those companies, which can give you a shopping list, or it can give you a list to prune your portfolio. If you're wondering, if you want a second opinion, why do I even have these stocks in my portfolio anymore? Well, check out My Take and you can get, some external triangulation.
Oh no.
At this point, sorry, I'll let it go. I don't promise to be right about everything. I don't promise that I'll never give a thumbs down to something that might go up. What I do promise is that it's an independent evaluation. There is no amount of money any company can pay me to give it a thumbs up when they deserve a thumbs down. So I work for my clients only. And so for what it's worth, that resource is there. I think most people have no idea what that is. I get an email like once a week. I subscribed and I had no idea what this was. It's so good, right? So
No,
check it out.
no, that's really nice. I'm going to put the links in the description below. Everyone watching, I highly recommend. Please go check out Independent Speculator. Please go follow Lobo on his social medias, which I'll put in the description below. But Lobo, such a huge pleasure you coming down and speaking to the silver and gold community. And, as the market develops, as always, would absolutely love to have you back on.
Absolutely. Well, despite the names, I am a gold and silver bug.
You know what?
I'm in good company.
I know you're Darth Silver, but we love you no matter what. Awesome. Talk to you soon, Lobo.
All right. Take care.